Let's start with the big picture, Agile. Think about how software used to be built. It was often like building a house, starting with blueprints and sticking to them rigidly. That's the waterfall approach. But Agile is different. It's about being adaptable and responding to what users actually need. Instead of planning everything up front, we build in short cycles, check our work, get feedback, and adjust. The core values center around teamwork, delivering useful software, collaborating closely with customers, and embracing change because, let's be honest, requirements often shift during a project. Okay, let's talk about the Agile Manifesto. It's a really important foundation for our work as Scrum Masters. It boils down to 4 core values and principles. First up, we have individuals and interactions. This isn't about ignoring processes. It's about recognizing that people working together effectively are far more valuable than any rigid plan. As Scrum Masters, we need to champion this by creating a supportive environment for the team to communicate openly. Next is working software over comprehensive documentation. We want to deliver value quickly, so detailed documentation can often wait. Our job is to help the team prioritize what's truly important. Then there's customer collaboration over contract negotiation. We need to continuously engage with our stakeholders. It's about building a strong relationship and understanding their needs. Finally, responding to change over following a plan. Agile is all about embracing change. It's not a rigid roadmap. Scrum Masters help the team stay flexible by guiding them through iterative sprints. Okay, let's talk about how Agile compares to the traditional waterfall model. Waterfall is like a very structured process. You start by gathering all your requirements upfront, design everything completely, then build it, test it, and finally release it. It's great when you know exactly what you need from the beginning because changes are really hard to accommodate later on. Now, Agile takes a completely different approach. Instead of planning everything at once, it breaks down the work into short cycles called sprints. Teams work closely with customers throughout the process, constantly adapting and delivering working software regularly. It's much more flexible and great for projects where things are likely to change. The key is understanding when one might be better than the other. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Scrum is really about delivering value in small chunks. There are 3 key roles: the product owner, who focuses on what we're building, the development team, who actually does the work of building it, and then there's the Scrum Master there like a coach or facilitator, making sure everything runs smoothly and helping remove any roadblocks for the team. Okay team, let's talk about who's doing what in a Scrum project. You've got your product owner there, the voice of the customer and responsible for making sure we're building the right thing. Then there's the Scrum Master, who acts as our guide, helping us follow the process and take care of any roadblocks that pop up. And finally, you have the development team, a group of experts working together to build the product itself. Each role has specific responsibilities, from prioritizing features to delivering working software. It's all about teamwork and collaboration. Okay, let's talk about what the Scrum Master actually does. Think of them as a facilitator and the coach, a real servant leader for their team. They guide the team through the core Scrum events like daily scrums, sprint planning, and those really helpful sprint reviews. But it's more than just running meetings. They actively work to remove any roadblocks that are slowing down the team, anything from technical problems to issues outside of the team's control. They also help the team understand how Scrum works and encourages them to continuously get better at what they do, protecting them from distractions so they can really focus on delivering value. Okay, let's talk about the product owner. This role is absolutely vital to a successful Scrum team. Think of them as the champion for the customer. They are responsible for creating and managing the product backlog, which is basically a list of everything that could be added to or improved upon in our product. They then prioritize this list based on what will deliver the most value, constantly gathering feedback from stakeholders like customers and internal teams. And importantly, they work closely with the team, defining clear acceptance criteria so everyone knows exactly where a piece of work is complete. It's all about making sure we're building the right product. Okay, let's talk about who really builds the product in Scrum, the development team. They are a self-organizing group of professionals, meaning they decide how best to get their work done. They own the sprint backlog, which is basically a list of everything they'll work on during the sprint. Every day, they have a quick stand-up to share what they're working on and if they're facing any roadblocks. During sprint planning, they figure out how much they can realistically accomplish and commit to delivering that within the sprint. And throughout the sprint, they collaborate closely, tackling tasks together and removing any obstacles that might be slowing them down, often with a little help from the Scrum Master. Okay, so let's talk about the events that drive a Scrum sprint. First up is sprint planning, where we decide what the team will tackle during this particular sprint. It's a collaborative session between the development team and the Scrum Master to pick which product backlog items are most important. Next, we have the daily Scrum, just 15 minutes every day for everyone on the team to share their progress plans and any roadblocks they're facing. Then comes the sprint review, where the team shows off what they've built and gets feedback from stakeholders. Finally, there's the sprint retrospective, a dedicated time for the team to reflect on how things went during the sprint and figure out ways to improve. Okay, let's talk about sprint planning. This is a really important meeting where we set the stage for the next 2 to 4 weeks. The product owner presents what they want us to work on, usually pulling items from their prioritized backlog. Then, we as the development team figure out how much we can actually get done, looking at our past performance and estimating our capacity. Finally, we choose a manageable set of those backlog items to include in our sprint backlog, and we define a clear sprint goal. What are we trying to achieve? It's all about working together, making realistic commitments, and ensuring everyone's on the same page. Okay, let's talk about defining those crucial sprint goals. Think of them as the North Star for your sprint. What are you really trying to accomplish? They start with a good look at the product backlog, working together as a team to choose 3 key goals that will bring value. These aren't just tasks, they are about delivering something meaningful and measurable. It's super important that everyone on the team understands and agrees with these goals because they guide all our work. Okay, let's talk about the daily Scrum, also known as the stand-up. It's a really important part of Scrum for keeping your team running smoothly. It's a quick 15-minute meeting where the development team gets together to share what they accomplished yesterday and what they plan to do today. The key is it's about coordinating efforts, making sure everyone knows what's happening and spotting any roadblocks that could be slowing things down. They stick to 3 simple questions. What did I do yesterday? What will I do today? And are there any impediments, anything stopping me or the team from reaching our sprint goal? It's important to remember that this isn't a place for detailed task assignments, but rather a chance for everyone on the team to stay aligned and communicate effectively. So, keep it short, focused, and collaborative. Okay, let's talk about the sprint review. This is a really important meeting where our Scrum team shows off what they've accomplished during the sprint, all the new features they've built. It's not just for the product owner to say great job. It's a chance for stakeholders, people who care about the project and can give us valuable feedback, to actually see how things are progressing. We gather feedback, discuss any roadblocks, and then adjust our plans for future sprints. Think of it as a conversation and an opportunity to align everyone on where we're headed. Okay, let's talk about the sprint retrospective. This is where the team gets together after each sprint to check in and figure out how things went. It usually takes around 30 to 60 minutes. The main goal is for everyone on the team to honestly reflect on what worked well, what didn't, and what we can do differently next time. We'll start by discussing what we actually accomplished during the sprint. Then we'll tackle any obstacles that got in our way. Finally, we'll focus on identifying 5 really important improvements, things we want to change to make the next sprint even better. There are a bunch of different ways you can run this meeting. Brainstorming is great for generating lots of ideas, while techniques like mad/sad/glide or start, stop, continue can help you pinpoint specific actions. Okay, let's talk about the tools we use in Scrum, specifically the artifacts. First, you have the product backlog. Think of it as a wish list of everything that could be added to our product. It's constantly being updated and prioritized. Next, there's the sprint backlog. This is what the team commits to doing during each sprint, a smaller chunk of work pulled from that bigger backlog. And finally, we have the increment, which represents all the completed work at the end of each sprint. It's essentially a working piece of software ready for review. Okay, let's talk about managing the product backlog. Think of it as your roadmap, a list of everything that could be built into your product, but crucially, it's a prioritized list. The Scrum Master plays a really important role here, helping the product owner and the team work together to keep this backlog clear, understandable, and most importantly, focused on what matters most. We'll help facilitate backlog refinement sessions where we break down big chunks of work into smaller, manageable pieces, ensuring everyone understands what needs to be done and how it should be evaluated for completion. Okay, let's talk about the sprint backlog. Think of it as your roadmap for the sprint, a clear list of what the development team is committing to do. The Scrum Master plays a key role in keeping this backlog organized and transparent. They help the team break down bigger tasks into smaller, more manageable pieces, ensuring everyone understands what needs to be done. It's all about collaboration between the product owner and the development team to prioritize those most important items. We'll go through a simple cycle, starting with grooming the product backlog, planning for the sprint, and then using the daily Scrum to keep things on track. Okay, let's talk about the definition of done or duty as a Scrum Master. Basically, it's a shared checklist that the whole team agrees on. What exactly makes something done. It helps to remove any confusion around whether a task is truly finished and ready for release. It's not just about getting code written. It includes things like passing tests, updating documentation, and making sure everything meets acceptance criteria. The great thing about duty is that the team creates it together, so it's a reflection of their standards and priorities. It's all about consistently delivering high-quality value. Let's talk about the increment in Scrum. It's really important to understand that an increment isn't just lines of code, though that's often part of it. Think of it as a working piece of your product, something you can actually use and show someone. Each sprint has a goal, a clear picture of what the team is trying to build. The daily Scrum helps keep everyone aligned and remove any roadblocks so they can deliver that increment at the end of the sprint. The key takeaway: we're always striving for working software, not just partially completed tasks. Okay, let's talk about user story as an acceptance criteria. They're fundamental to Scrum. Think of a user story as telling the team who needs something and why. It's written from the perspective of the person using the feature, like a customer or an administrator. For example, as a customer, I want to be able to reset my password. Then we need acceptance criteria. These are the how do we know questions that define what needs to happen for that user story to be considered done and successful. There are specific conditions, like, given I'm on the login page when I enter my email and password, so user stories help us understand what to build, and acceptance criteria tell us how we know it's built correctly. Okay, let's talk about story point estimation. As a Scrum Master, helping your team nail this is key. It's all about getting everyone on the same page regarding how much work each user story will likely take. Why do we estimate? Well, it helps us understand the complexity of the task and makes sprint planning easier, allowing us to realistically commit to what we can accomplish. We use a few different techniques, like planning poker, where team members discuss their estimates individually, or t-shirt sizing, think small, medium, large and bucket systems too. The really important thing to remember is that story points aren't about measuring how long something takes. They are actually a way of gauging relative effort or complexity within the team. Okay, let's talk about planning poker. It's a really cool way for the Scrum team to work together and get a good sense of how much effort it will take to complete a user story. Basically, everyone on the team silently rates the story using a scale often based on the Fibonacci sequence, which helps avoid just saying it'll be easy or it'll be hard. We start by having each person privately put down their estimate. Then we chat about why they chose those numbers, and the discussion is super important because it helps everyone understand what's going on and catch any misunderstandings. We keep repeating these rounds until the estimates settle down, showing a good agreement from the team. Okay, let's talk about product backlog refinement, often called grooming. Think of it as a regular checkup for your backlog. During this session, the team gets together to review and make sure all the items in the backlog are clear, prioritized, and ready to be pulled into the next sprint. We'll look at how we prioritize, estimate, break down big tasks, clarify any confusion, and even remove anything that's no longer important. It's a really valuable conversation that helps us work more efficiently and deliver better results. Okay, let's talk about Scrum boards. They're super important for keeping the whole team on track. There are a few different types. You have your product backlog board, which just lists all the things we want to build, prioritize from most important to least. Then there's the sprint backlog board, which is specifically focused on what we're tackling the sprint and how we'll get it done. And sometimes teams use task boards too. These are like mini Kanban boards that break down user stories into smaller tasks. Using a Scrum board helps everyone see where things stand, keeps the team communicating really well, and makes estimating work much easier. Okay, let's talk about burn down charts. They're a really helpful way for Scrum teams to visualize their progress. Basically, it's a chart that tracks how much work is left in a sprint. We usually show the remaining story points or errors over time, like on a daily basis. A healthy burn down looks like a nice, steady downward slope, meaning the team's consistently delivering what they planned. If you see big spikes or deviations, it's a sign to take a look and figure out what's going on. Okay, let's talk about burn-up charts. These are super helpful visual tools for Scrum teams. They basically show how we're tracking against our sprint backlog, what we plan to do versus what we've actually accomplished. You'll see a line representing the total commitment and another line showing how much has been burned down or completed. The gap between those lines tells you exactly what's still outstanding. It's great for keeping everyone aligned on progress and spotting any issues early. Okay, let's talk about velocity tracking. Basically, it's a way to measure how much your team is actually accomplishing each sprint, not just how many things you think you should be doing. It's based on story points, which we use to estimate the relative complexity of tasks, and at the end of each sprint, you add up all those points to get a total velocity number. Tracking this over time gives you a really helpful trend line, letting you see if your team is getting faster or slower, and it's super useful for planning future sprints with the product owner. Okay, let's talk about release planning. As Scrum Masters, we help make sure our teams are focused on delivering valuable things at the right time. Release planning is all about figuring out what we're building, when we'll deliver it, and how we're going to do it. It's really a strategic roadmap for getting value out there consistently. We facilitate conversations between everyone involved, the product owner, the development team, and any stakeholders who have an interest. We help break down big ideas into smaller steps, making sure everyone understands what we're aiming for and what's important. Okay, so let's talk about capacity planning. It's really important for keeping Scrum teams healthy and productive. Essentially, we're trying to figure out just how much work our team can realistically accomplish in a sprint. It's not about pushing them to do more, it's about understanding what they can reliably deliver. Team capacity is influenced by things like their past performance, usually looking at historical velocity, but also considering factors like available time, meetings, and even individual skills. We use methods like planning poker or holding team workshops to get a good sense of where the team's capacity actually lies, and it's important to remember that this can change over time. Okay, let's talk about a really crucial aspect of being a Scrum Master, servant leadership. It's not about telling people what to do, it's actually about serving the team and helping them succeed. Think of yourself as their guide and advocate. You actively listen to understand what they need. Maybe there are challenges they haven't voiced, or ideas they want to explore. Then you work tirelessly to remove any obstacles standing in their way, whether that's a process bottleneck, lack of information, or just someone needing a little help. You also coach them on how to work together more effectively and build a truly self-organizing team. Okay, let's talk about removing impediments, a really important part of being a Scrum Master. Basically, it means spotting things that are getting in the way of your team's progress and then actively working to clear those paths. It's not about you fixing everything for them, it's about helping them find solutions. We start by identifying what's slowing them down. Maybe there's a dependency on another team, or they're stuck on a technical issue. Then we need to dig into the root cause to understand why it's happening. And finally, we take action to actually remove that obstacle, whether that means stepping in directly, facilitating communication, or escalating things if needed. Just make sure you follow up afterwards to see if the problem has truly gone away. Okay, let's talk about keeping our Agile ceremonies running smoothly. As Scrum Master, you play a crucial role in ensuring these events are productive. Sprint planning is all about setting the stage, agreeing on a clear goal, and building the backlog collaboratively. The daily Scrum? Keep it tight and focused with those 3 questions. It's not about status updates, it's about planning for the day. Then we have the sprint review, which is a chance to show off what the team has accomplished and get valuable feedback from stakeholders. Finally, the sprint retrospective. This is where the magic happens. It's your job to create an environment where the team feels safe to talk honestly about what worked well and what needs improvement. Remember, these ceremonies aren't just meetings, they're powerful tools for continuous improvement. Okay, let's talk about tackling disagreements within your Scrum team. As a Scrum Master, you're often in a position to help smooth things over. The first step is always really listening, genuinely trying to understand everyone's point of view. Paraphrase what they say to make sure you've got it right and ask questions to get more details. Then create an environment where people feel safe to express themselves without fear of criticism. Once you know the root cause of the conflict, not just the surface issue, remind everyone about the sprint goal and how their individual concerns can affect the team's overall success. If things are still getting heated, you might need to step in as a mediator and guide them toward a compromise that works for everyone involved. Okay team, let's talk about how a Scrum Master actually coaches the team to truly embrace Agile principles. It's more than just running ceremonies, it's about creating an environment where everyone understands why we're doing things a certain way. We want to focus on transparency, making sure everyone is on the same page and can see what's going on. Courage is also huge, helping the team have the confidence to talk about problems, try new approaches, and learn from mistakes. Then there's focus, keeping the team laser focused on delivering real value. And finally, commitment, fostering a sense of ownership and dedication. A great Scrum Master does this through asking why questions, leading productive retrospectives, and really modeling those Agile values themselves. Okay, let's talk about stakeholder management in Scrum. Basically, stakeholders are anyone who has an interest in the project. That could be the people directly building it, like the development team, or even clients and upper management. It's super important to understand who they are and what they want, because if you don't keep them aligned, you can end up with scope creep, unmet expectations, and a whole lot of frustration. We need to identify all stakeholders, figure out their needs, engage with them regularly through things like sprint reviews, and most importantly, manage their expectations, be honest about what we can realistically achieve within each sprint. Okay team, let's talk about how Scrum Masters can really shine when it comes to tracking and reporting on our progress. We want to move beyond just looking at a spreadsheet. We need to understand why things are happening. Velocity, that's the number of story points we complete in each sprint, is super helpful for planning future sprints. Burn down charts give us a visual way to see if we're on track, and cycle time helps us identify any bottlenecks slowing us down. Lead time measures how long it takes from when someone asks for something all the way through to when they get it. And let's not forget team happiness, because a happy team is almost always a productive team. Finally, reporting isn't just about throwing numbers at stakeholders, it's about explaining them in context, connecting those metrics back to our sprint goals and highlighting how we're delivering value. Okay, let's talk about the Scrum of Scrums. Think of it as a quick sync-up specifically designed for Scrum Masters. It's a meeting where the Scrum Masters from all the different Agile teams in a project get together to make sure everyone is on the same page and that any roadblocks are being addressed collectively. It's not about going into detail with the teams themselves, but rather identifying those big picture impediments like dependencies between teams or shared resources and then working together to clear them. This table shows how it might look. Each team shares their focus for the sprint, what's blocking them, and what they plan to do next based on the discussion. Okay, let's talk about how SAFe fits into your role as a Scrum Master. Essentially, SAFe is a framework for scaling Agile practices across larger organizations. Imagine you're working with multiple teams, not just one. SAFe provides a structure to coordinate those teams and ensure they are all moving in the same direction. A key element is the Agile release train, or ART. It's like a mini organization made up of several Agile teams that work together to deliver value regularly, usually every 90 to 12 weeks. Within an ART, you have what's called a program increment, or PI, which is a time box typically around 8 to 12 weeks where the teams plan and build their product. Understanding value streams, how your work flows from concept to customer, is also crucial and SAFe. Hey everyone, let's dive into DAD basics. It's all about adding some extra structure to your Agile journey. Think of DAD as a helpful guide, especially for bigger projects or when things get complicated. It's built around 3 core ideas: delivering value first, constantly learning and adapting through feedback, and really empowering your teams to work together seamlessly. DAD also builds on the Scrum framework by clarifying roles and how we manage our time and backlog. It's not about swapping out Scrum, but layering in extra guidance where it helps. Okay, let's talk about LSS, that's large-scale Scrum. It's a really popular way to bring the power of Scrum to bigger teams and organizations. Unlike some other scaling frameworks which can get pretty complex with lots of new roles and processes, LSS is all about keeping things simple and focused on what matters most, delivering value. It's based directly on Scrum principles, but it's designed so the teams coordinate their work with each other naturally, without needing a dedicated engineer or anything like that. And crucially, the product backlog, a list of features and ideas, is treated as the single source of truth for everyone. Okay, let's talk about Kanban versus Scrum. Scrum uses time-box sprints. Think of them as mini projects with defined goals and a set schedule. You have specific roles like the product owner, Scrum Master, and development team, and you run regular ceremonies to keep things on track. Kanban, on the other hand, is more about visualizing your workflow using a Kanban board. It's all about keeping work moving smoothly, limiting how much stuff is in progress at any given time. The key difference is that Scrum has fixed sprints, while Kanban focuses on continuous flow. Both are great Agile approaches, and choosing the right one depends on what works best for your team. Okay, let's talk about hybrid Agile approaches. Sometimes sticking rigidly to one methodology just doesn't work for every team. The good news is you don't have to. Many teams are successfully blending Scrum and Kanban. It's often called Scrumban, using sprints for planning and refinement while using a Kanban board to visualize the flow of work day to day. You can also integrate Scrum ceremonies with a Kanban board, giving you the best of both worlds. Don't feel like you have to overhaul your entire process. Even adopting some Kanban practices like limiting work in progress can be really effective. Hey everyone, let's talk about how Scrum Masters can truly step up their game by becoming better Agile coaches. It's not just about running the Scrum ceremony, it's about helping your team build a culture of continuous improvement. One key skill is active listening and really trying to understand what each team member is experiencing. Then, when there are challenges, use the 5 whys technique to get to the root cause instead of just fixing the immediate problem. Don't tell them how to do things, but help them figure it out themselves. And most importantly, nurture that self-organizing spirit. Let them take ownership and celebrate those wins together. Okay, let's talk about how we can gauge the maturity of our Scrum teams. Think of it like a staircase. Each level represents a different stage in adopting Agile practices. We start with level 1, which is basically reacting to problems as they come up without much process or structure. Then we move into transitionary, where we begin implementing some basic processes and standard practices. As things get better, we reach proactive, where we're really using Agile principles and focusing on continuous improvement through regular retrospectives. And finally, the highest level evolutionary, where teams are completely adaptable, self-organizing, and constantly experimenting to find new ways to deliver value. Okay, let's talk about how teams actually work together in Agile. It's not just about writing code, it's about building a strong, collaborative unit. The most important thing is trust. Team members need to feel safe being open and honest, even if their ideas aren't perfect. Then there's collaboration. Everyone needs to be talking to each other, listening actively, and working together towards that shared sprint goal. Teams should be self-organizing, meaning they decide how best to achieve that goal. They're in control of the process. And naturally, conflicts will arise, but it's crucial to address them constructively, focusing on finding solutions instead of pointing fingers. The Scrum Master helps build and maintain all of these dynamics, facilitating communication and removing any roadblocks that might be getting in the way. Okay, let's talk about building truly great Scrum teams. It's not enough to simply follow the rules. You need to create an environment where people feel safe and empowered. That means prioritizing psychological safety, where team members are comfortable taking risks and sharing ideas without fear of criticism. Trust is absolutely crucial. Everyone needs to believe in each other's abilities. And crucially, teams should be self-organizing, meaning they have the autonomy to decide how best to achieve their sprint goal. Finally, a commitment to continuous improvement through regular retrospectives ensures the team keeps growing and getting better. Okay, let's talk about managing those amazing but sometimes tricky distributed Agile teams. The biggest thing to remember is communication. Really lean into it. Video calls are your friend, and tools like Slack or Teams are essential for keeping everyone connected. Because of time zones, we need to be super considerate of everyone's working hours, finding times that work for most people, or rotating meeting times so not one group always has to meet at odd hours is key. And let's not forget cultural differences. Understanding how different teams work and respecting those styles makes a huge difference. Finally, making sure everyone understands the big picture, the goals of the sprint, what's in the backlog, and that they can see progress through shared tools builds trust and collaboration. Okay, let's talk about the tools that Scrum Masters use to keep everything running smoothly. There are ton of options out there, but we're focusing on some really popular ones. Jira is super flexible and great for managing detailed tasks and setting up custom workflows. Rally is fantastic for larger teams who need a really clear overview of how things are progressing across multiple projects. Azure DevOps is another solid choice if your team's already using Microsoft products. And finally, Trello is incredibly easy to pick up. It's perfect for visualizing the flow of work on smaller projects or sprints. Okay, let's talk about how contracts and budgets fit into an Agile project. Traditionally, we've locked down a fixed scope with a contract. But Agile is all about flexibility. So, instead of defining exactly what needs to be built, we focus on the value we want to deliver. We shift towards value-based contracts, agreements based on outcomes rather than specific features. We can use things like time-box sprints or rolling wave planning, and even outcome contracts where we agree on results, not a rigid plan. It's about working together and adapting as we learn. Okay, let's talk about Agile release trains. Imagine a big project, something really complex. Instead of having tons of individual teams working in isolation, we often use ART. An ART is basically a large team structure, almost like a mini company itself, focused on delivering value consistently over time. It's made up of several Scrum teams that are all aligned around delivering the same features, not just one product. Each ART has multiple Scrum Masters, each leading their own team, and often multiple product owners representing different areas of work. The role of the Scrum Master within an ART is to help these teams collaborate smoothly, tackle any roadblocks they encounter, and ultimately make sure everything's moving forward efficiently towards that big shared goal. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters can really champion quality within their teams. It's not just about finding bugs, it's about building a culture of quality from the very beginning. We want to shift left testing, meaning get testers involved as early as possible during sprint planning. Automation is key here too. Automating repetitive tests frees up your team to focus on more complex issues. Pairing developers and testers can also be incredibly beneficial for shared understanding. And finally, make sure you have a really clear definition of done. What does it really mean for a story to be considered complete? Don't forget to discuss quality within the sprint retrospectives. That's where we find opportunities for improvement. Okay, let's talk about the Agile testing pyramid. Think of it like a pyramid. The widest part at the top represents manual testing, which is all about human testers finding issues through exploration and usability. Then you move down to unit tests, which are small automated tests that check individual parts of your code. Next comes integration and API testing, ensuring different pieces work together smoothly. And finally, at the very bottom, we have our automated UI or end-to-end tests. These mimic how a user would interact with the application, but they should be used sparingly because they can be slow and prone to breaking if your code changes. Okay, let's talk about how behavior-driven development fits into the Scrum world. BDD is all about understanding what our users actually want from the software we're building, not just collecting a list of features. It's like translating those business needs into real examples that everyone can understand. We use something called Gherkin, which is a simple way to write scenarios using given when then steps. During sprint planning, we add these scenarios to our user stories, making the acceptance criteria super clear. And because BDD tests drive development, it makes sure we're building the right thing, not just anything that works. Okay, let's talk about how test-driven development fits into the Scrum world. TDD is a really powerful approach where you write tests before you write the actual code. It's like building with Legos. You figure out what you want to build first and then create instructions to get there. We use a cycle called red, green, refactor. First, we write a test that shouldn't work yet, that's red. Then, we write just enough code to make the test pass green. Finally, we clean up and improve the code refactor. Integrating TDD into your Scrum stories leads to more robust products, fewer bugs, and a smoother development process overall. It's a fantastic way to ensure everyone's on the same page and building high-quality software. Okay, let's talk about how continuous integration and continuous delivery fit into a Scrum project. These are really important for getting your product out there faster and more reliably. CI means developers merge their code changes frequently, and automated builds and tests catch problems early on. CD takes that a step further. It automates the entire release process so you can deliver new features to users much more often. As a Scrum Master, you aren't building this pipeline yourself, but you're absolutely vital in making sure things run smoothly by removing roadblocks, fostering collaboration between development and operations teams, and encouraging everyone to embrace automation. Okay, let's talk about how we handle change in Agile projects. It's completely normal for things to shift and evolve, but it's absolutely crucial that we manage those shifts effectively. And controlled changes can really throw a team off track, so the Scrum Master plays a vital role here. First, it's important to understand why change happens. It's not always bad. The key is how we approach it. We need transparency, making sure everyone understands what's changing and why. Collaboration is essential to getting the product owner and development team together to assess whether a change is worth pursuing. Then prioritization comes in. The product owner decides which changes will actually bring the most value. And finally, we embrace iteration. Small, manageable changes are much easier to deal with than one giant overhaul. The Scrum Master helps guide the team through all of this, removing any roadblocks and keeping everyone aligned. Okay, let's talk about managing technical debt within Scrum. Think of it like this: sometimes we take shortcuts during development to get features out faster. That's technical debt. It might seem fine at first, but over time, these quick fixes can slow us down and make future changes riskier. In an Agile environment, it's crucial to tackle this proactively. You want to prioritize addressing technical debt alongside new feature work. We often use techniques like MOSCRW to decide what needs attention most. Regularly refactoring in dedicated sprints is key. And importantly, let's keep everyone on the same page by tracking our debt in a shared backlog item, making it visible and transparent for the whole team. Okay, so as Scrum Masters, we need to be thinking about what could go wrong before it does. It's not just about keeping the sprint on track, it's about proactively managing potential problems. We start by actively looking for risks, encouraging our teams and stakeholders to speak up about anything that feels uncertain. We can do this through regular brainstorming sessions, or even just fostering a culture where people feel comfortable raising concerns. Then we put those risks down in a simple risk register, basically a table with the risk itself, how bad it could be if it happens, and how likely it is to happen. We then prioritize these risks, focusing on what's most important to address first, often using an impact/probability matrix to help us decide where our efforts should go. Finally, we come up with mitigation strategies, ways to prevent the risk from occurring or lessen its impact if it does. And remember, sometimes a risk needs to be escalated above the team level. Okay, let's talk about Agile project charters. Think of it as setting the stage for your Scrum team. As a Scrum Master, you're not just involved in creating the document, you're guiding the conversation to make sure everyone, the product owner and key stakeholders, are on the same page. It's all about understanding why we're building this product in the first place. We want to ensure that everything aligns with Agile principles like transparency and working in short cycles. Your role is to facilitate collaboration, manage scope carefully, identify potential risks early on, and make sure those initial assumptions are clear for everyone. The charter itself will outline things like project goals, what success looks like, who's involved, and any key assumptions we're making. Okay, let's talk about delivering real value in Scrum. It's not just about building a bunch of features, it's about actually solving customer problems and providing genuine benefits. We need to start by really defining what value means, what specific problem are we trying to solve. Then, the product owner prioritizes our backlog based on that definition, making sure the most valuable items get tackled first. The Scrum Master helps the team understand how they are contributing to that overall value and ensures the sprint goal reflects this focus. Let's talk about product roadmaps. Think of it as a high-level compass guiding our team and stakeholders towards where we're headed with the product. It's not just a list of features, it shows why those features are important, connecting them to bigger goals like making onboarding smoother for new users. We break things down into themes, which represent larger objectives, then into epics and individual features. And importantly, we visualize this over different timeframes: what's happening now, what's coming up next, and what's further out in the future. Okay, let's talk about Sprint Zero. Think of it as the pre-game warm-up for your Scrum project. It's not a sprint itself, we don't have time boxes or sprints during this phase. The goal is to build a really solid foundation. We start by focusing on product discovery, figuring out exactly what problem we're solving and validating that we understand our users well. Then, we get key stakeholders together to make sure everyone's on the same page about the big picture. Next up, we do some high-level backlog refinement, breaking down the overall vision into manageable epics and themes. And finally, we put together the Scrum team, identifying who will be the product owner, Scrum Master, and of course, our development team. Okay team, let's talk about how you, as a Scrum Master, play a crucial part in keeping things aligned not just with our sprints, but also with the bigger picture. Essentially, Agile governance and compliance aren't just extra paperwork. They're about making sure we're working within our company's rules, respecting regulations like GDPR or HIPAA if needed, and consistently tracking how well we're doing. Think of it as a framework to ensure we're delivering value effectively while staying on the right side of things. You'll be helping your team understand our policies, stay up to date with relevant rules, track important metrics, and proactively address any potential roadblocks. Okay, let's talk about building great teams in Scrum. When we're acting as Scrum Masters, one of our most important jobs is managing cross-functional team dynamics. That really means making sure everyone on the team has what they need to contribute effectively, whether they're specific technical skills or just a good understanding of the overall product vision. It's about bringing together diverse backgrounds and expertise. We want to foster open communication so people feel comfortable sharing their knowledge and collaborating seamlessly. And crucially, we need to empower the team to take ownership and make decisions themselves. Ultimately, it's all about creating a continuously improving environment where everyone feels valued and can contribute their best work. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters can really boost collaboration with techniques like pair programming and mob programming. Pair programming is essentially two developers working together on the same task. They share a screen and keyboard, which makes it fantastic for immediate feedback and helps everyone write better code. It's especially helpful when someone's new to a project or facing a tricky problem. Then there's mob programming, where the whole Scrum team tackles a single challenge using one computer. One person is the driver, typing away, and another is the navigator, guiding the process and ensuring everything stays aligned with the sprint goal. Mob programming is brilliant for brainstorming new ideas or tackling really complex technical hurdles. It's all about getting those fresh perspectives flowing. Okay, let's talk about how to really coach your team as a Scrum Master. It's not just about running the meetings, although that's important too. You're there to help them become more self-sufficient and constantly improve. We've got 4 key coaching stances. First, you act as the guide, offering support and resources without telling them exactly what to do. Think of it as pointing them toward helpful information instead of giving them the answer. Next up is the witness, where you observe the team's interactions, noticing patterns that might be hindering their progress or highlighting successes. You stay out of direct intervention, just absorbing what's happening. Then we have the challenger, someone who gently questions unproductive habits and assumptions, always framing feedback in a supportive way. And finally, the facilitator, making sure the Scrum events are running smoothly and everyone is on the same page. Okay, let's talk about leadership styles. Traditionally, management often takes a command and control approach, basically telling people exactly what to do and how to do it. While this can be effective in some situations, it tends to stifle creativity and motivation within a team. But as a Scrum Master, you're all about something different: servant leadership. This means putting your team's needs first, helping them remove obstacles, and fostering an environment where they can truly thrive and collaborate. It's less about directing and more about empowering, asking how can I support rather than simply telling you what to do. Okay, let's talk about estimation in Scrum. As a Scrum Master, you play a key role in helping your team get better at this. First off, forget about measuring estimates in hours or days. That's not the goal. We use story points, which are relative units of measure. They help us understand how complex a task is, considering things like risk and uncertainty. Planning poker is a great technique for doing this collaboratively. Everyone silently assigns a point value, then you talk it through to come to an agreement. The Fibonacci sequence 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 is helpful for sizing stories. Finally, remember to be humble. It's better to overestimate slightly than to underestimate and set unrealistic goals. Okay, let's talk about navigating an agile transformation. Think of it as a roadmap, a series of deliberate steps to get your team and organization moving in the right direction. We start with understanding where you're at now, educating everyone on what Agile is all about, and looking for some easy wins early on. Then, we'll choose a small project to test out Scrum, learn from our experiences, and refine our approach. As we gain confidence, we expand Scrum adoption across more teams, providing ongoing support and coaching. And finally, it's not a one-and-done thing. Continuous improvement is key, constantly looking for ways to get better and adapt as you go. Okay, so let's talk about handling changes in a Scrum project. It's totally normal for requirements to shift. That's just part of building software. As a Scrum Master, you don't shut down change requests. Instead, you focus on understanding why they're happening and making sure the team is equipped to manage them. First, embrace the change itself. It's going to happen. Then really dig in with the product owner to understand the reason for the shift and what impact it might have. It's vital to assess how the change affects the current sprint goal, the backlog, and everything else. During backlog refinement, you can work with the team to prioritize these changes and break them down into smaller steps if needed. And finally, if a change fundamentally alters the sprint goal, don't hesitate to discuss whether a new sprint is necessary. Clear communication is key throughout the process. Okay, let's talk about keeping your Scrum team motivated. It's not just about checking off tasks, it's about creating an environment where everyone feels valued and excited to contribute. First, regularly recognize and celebrate both small wins and big accomplishments. Public praise goes a long way. Next, nurture a growth mindset within the team, encouraging them to learn from every experience, including mistakes. Building strong connections is key to team-building activities. Even simple ones can make a huge difference. Giving people ownership over their work and trusting their decisions also boosts motivation significantly. And finally, remember that as a Scrum Master, you lead by example. Your own enthusiasm and attitude are contagious. It's about creating a supportive and empowering atmosphere where the team feels valued and ready to deliver. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum teams look back at their work to get better. We'll cover 3 really useful retrospective techniques. First up is start, stop, continue. It's super simple. What should we start doing? What shouldn't we keep doing? And what are we already doing that works well? Next, there's the 4LS, which helps us dig into the why behind problems. Let's talk about them. List potential causes, look at any data, and then learn from the experience. Finally, we have Mad, Sad, Glad, a great way to gauge team sentiment by focusing on frustrations, what needs improvement, and what's going awesome. These techniques help build a more open and collaborative environment. Okay, let's talk about a really important aspect of Scrum: scaling it to teams that aren't all in the same room. When you have distributed Agile teams, things get a little trickier. One major challenge is dealing with time zone differences. Coordinating meetings across multiple time zones can be a real headache. Then there are communication barriers. Relying only on emails and messages can easily lead to misunderstandings. It's also important to consider cultural variations, as different teams might approach Agile differently. And finally, it's tougher to get a clear overview of the entire project when everyone is working in their own silo. Fortunately, there are some great strategies we can use, like prioritizing asynchronous communication and scheduling regular virtual stand-ups at times that work for most people. Establishing common practices across teams and investing in tools that promote collaboration can also go a long way. Okay, let's talk about managing those pesky dependencies in Scrum. They pop up all the time. One team needs something from another, or a task relies on information that's still being gathered elsewhere. As your Scrum Master, it's your job to shine a light on these relationships and keep everyone aligned. Start by making sure you're identifying them early during sprint planning, maybe even having some open discussions about what's relying on whom. Then get those dependencies visible. Use a Kanban board with clear swim lanes, or just a simple spreadsheet can do wonders. Mapping them out visually can be really helpful too, showing the critical path so you know where to focus your attention. And finally, don't forget regular check-ins during your daily stand-ups. It's a great opportunity to discuss any roadblocks and keep those dependencies flowing smoothly. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters can really contribute to the bigger picture Agile portfolio management. Think of it as a way to connect your team's work directly with the organization's strategic goals. It's not just about delivering features, it's about why those features matter. As a Scrum Master, you help teams understand how their sprints fit into larger initiatives and provide guidance on prioritization, making sure they're focusing on what delivers the most value to the portfolio. You can even use visual tools like Kanban boards to map your team's sprint goals onto key initiatives, giving everyone a clear understanding of the connection. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters can help with Agile budgeting. It's really not about predicting the future perfectly, it's more about being adaptable. We start by working closely with the team during sprint planning to get a good understanding of what each story will take. Then, we use something called rolling wave budgeting, which means we don't set a fixed budget at the beginning. Instead, we allocate funds based on what we're planning for future sprints. It's important to regularly check in during sprint retrospectives, talking about whether our estimates were accurate and why they might have been off. Transparency is key here. Keeping everyone informed about the budget status helps ensure alignment. And finally, don't forget a little buffer, a risk buffer, to handle unexpected issues that inevitably pop up. Okay, let's dive into some common mistakes we see in Scrum teams, what we call anti-patterns. These aren't necessarily bad intentions, they often stem from misunderstandings or trying too hard. We'll look at a few key issues. Sometimes sprint planning gets bogged down for way too long, making it exhausting for the team. The daily scrum can also turn into just a status report that the team lead needs to hear. And then there's scope creep, constantly adding new things without properly considering the impact. We've even seen teams try to apply waterfall principles to their sprints. Finally, not addressing impediments, those roadblocks that are slowing everyone down, is a huge problem. Recognizing these patterns allows you to step in and help your team get back on track. Okay, let's talk about a common trap in Scrum: using velocity as a target. It's really easy to start obsessing over how much you can get done in each sprint and want to increase that number, right? But the problem is, if you do that, it can actually hurt your team in the long run. Teams might try to rush things, cut corners on quality, or take on way too much work just to hit a higher velocity. It's like trying to run faster. Eventually, you'll burn out. Look for signs like consistently overcommitting, not hitting sprint goals but still inflating estimates, and team members feeling stressed and overwhelmed. Velocity is a helpful metric, but it shouldn't be the primary driver of your decisions. Okay, let's talk about how a Scrum Master can be a real force for change within a team and an organization. Think of yourself as more than just a meeting facilitator. You're actively encouraging everyone to embrace agile ways of working. It starts with leading by example. If you are transparent, collaborative, and always looking for improvement, that sets the tone for the whole team. You'll be spending a lot of time tackling roadblocks, those things that are stopping your team from being productive. That could be anything from confusing processes to technical challenges. Coaching is key to empowering the team to figure things out themselves and grow their skills. And don't forget about retrospectives, which provide a really valuable opportunity for reflection and planning for what's next. Finally, you need to work with people outside the immediate team stakeholders to make sure everyone's on the same page and that any external hurdles are cleared. Change takes time and consistent effort, so your job is to guide them along the way. Okay, so let's talk about psychological safety. It's absolutely key to a successful Agile team. Think of it as building an environment where everyone feels comfortable being themselves, even if that means admitting they don't have all the answers or sharing ideas that might seem a little crazy at first. When people are afraid of messing up, they hold back, and that seriously stifles innovation. A psychologically safe team is one where folks can speak openly about challenges, share feedback, and experiment without fear of judgment. As a Scrum Master, you play a huge role in creating this kind of atmosphere by leading by example, actively listening to your team's concerns, and celebrating what we learn from both successes and failures. Okay, let's talk about how a Scrum Master can really shine when it comes to facilitating. It's not about telling people what to do, it's about creating an environment where the team feels comfortable sharing ideas and working together effectively. Active listening is super important. Really try to understand everyone's point of view, maybe by paraphrasing back what you heard. We also want to make sure everyone gets a chance to speak up, so techniques like round-robin discussions or dot voting can be fantastic for prioritizing. And when you're digging into problems, the 5 whys can help you get to the root cause. Finally, brainstorming but with a twist. Techniques like brainwriting can encourage quiet members to contribute without feeling pressured. Okay, let's talk about something super important for a successful Scrum team: team agreements and working agreements. Think of these as the team's playbook, not written in stone, but guiding principles that shape how we all work together. Team agreements are more like values. They're about how we treat each other, things like being open and honest with one another, or committing to finishing our tasks. Working agreements, on the other hand, are much more specific. These are the routines and practices we use for collaboration, like when our daily stand-ups happen, how we communicate outside of meetings, and what it actually means for a task to be done. Getting these right is key because they'll make your team more self-organized, help you avoid disagreements, boost efficiency, and create a really positive environment where everyone feels safe to contribute. Okay, let's talk about something really important for Scrum Masters: the definition of ready, or DUR. Think of it as a checklist that ensures those backlog items are truly ready to be tackled in a sprint. It's more than just a story, it's about having all the information needed, clear acceptance criteria, an estimated effort, and any dependencies identified. A good DUR prevents us from spinning our wheels on incomplete work and keeps our sprints moving smoothly. Hey everyone! Today we're talking about documentation in Scrum, specifically how to be a good Scrum Master around it. It's not about writing massive reports, it's really about ensuring that the team has enough information to work effectively and stay aligned. We want just enough documentation focusing on what's truly necessary for transparency and shared understanding. Think of things like the prioritized product backlog, the sprint backlog which the team manages, and a clear definition of done. User stories are also crucial. And remember, it needs to be easy to keep updated. Collaboration is super important too. Encourage your team to contribute to maintaining these documents. Ultimately, documentation should support the working software, not become an obstacle. Okay, let's talk about getting everyone on board, our stakeholders. It's super important that they understand what we're building and why. We need to build strong relationships with them right from the start. That means regular updates, like sprint reviews where we show off our work. But it goes beyond just talking them. We also need to really listen to their needs and concerns. Think about translating all that technical talk into language they can understand. A common ground is key. And finally, let's create ways for them to give us feedback so we can keep improving together. Okay, let's dive into some real-world Scrum Master interview scenarios. We're going to look at 3 common situations: an unhappy team member, stakeholder conflict, and sprint goal confusion. For the first one, we want to dig deep to find why someone is frustrated, not just address the symptom. Then it's about facilitating a conversation within the team to get everyone on the same page. Next up, a product owner wants to throw in a last-minute feature. That's where you need to calmly explain why sticking to the sprint plan is crucial and explore alternative ways to deliver value. Finally, if the team isn't clear about the sprint goal, it's your job to reiterate it, break down the work into smaller tasks, keep everyone focused during stand-ups, and reflect on what can be done better in the next sprint. Okay, so let's talk about time boxing. It's a really important tool in Scrum for keeping things on track and focused. Basically, we set a specific amount of time, a time box for any activity. Think of it like a mini deadline. During that time, the team works as hard as they can to accomplish what they need to do. When the timer goes off, even if things aren't completely finish, we stop. This forces us to prioritize and make decisions quickly. It helps prevent meetings from dragging on forever, keeps scope creep in check, and makes everyone aware of how much time is being spent. Okay, let's talk about how we use data in Scrum. Specifically, we're looking at Agile metrics, things like velocity and burn down charts. Velocity tells us the amount of work a team delivers each sprint. It's super helpful, but it's important to remember that higher isn't always better. We need to look at the whole picture. Burn down charts show us how much work is left over in a sprint and help us track progress. Then there's cycle time, how long it takes a team to complete an individual task, and lead time, which measures the entire process from request to delivery. Don't get hung up on just the numbers though, always combine them with what your team tells you. Okay, let's talk about empiricism in Scrum. It's a really key idea. It's all about knowing how we know things and adapting to what we find out. Scrum is built on 4 core principles: transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Transparency means keeping everything open and honest within the team and with stakeholders. Inspection is regularly looking at our work and the backlog to see if we're on track. And finally, adaptation, using those inspections to make changes and adjust our plans as needed. Think of it like a scientific method applied to software development. A Scrum Master helps the team embrace this iterative approach and be comfortable with change. Okay, let's talk about transparency, inspection, and adaptation, the three pillars of how a Scrum Master really operates. First, it's crucial to be completely open with the team. Share everything: progress, roadblocks, even tough conversations. This builds trust. Then, regularly check in during retrospectives to look back at what happened, why things went well or not so well, and brainstorm ways to do better next time. It's about gathering facts, not just opinions. And finally, the magic happens with adaptation. Use those insights from inspection to adjust your processes, backlog, or even your approach to sprints, embracing change as a natural part of Scrum. It's all about continuously learning and improving together. Okay, let's talk about how a Scrum Master fits into the bigger picture of SAFe. When you move beyond just one team, things change. The Scrum Master transforms into a release train engineer and RTE. Think of them as a servant leader guiding multiple teams towards a common goal, like delivering a major release. Their job is to facilitate planning across those teams, keep track of dependencies so nothing falls through the cracks, and tackle any obstacles that are holding everyone back. They'll also be looking at metrics to see how things are going and reporting progress to stakeholders. Importantly, they continue to coach the individual Scrum Masters within their ART, really fostering a great collaborative environment. Okay team, let's talk about product increment planning, a really important part of our Scrum process. Think of it as building blocks for the product. We're focusing on what the development team can realistically achieve in this sprint, and it all starts with understanding the bigger picture, the sprint goal. We work closely with the product owner to select user stories that directly support that goal, prioritizing those that deliver the most value. Then, it's all about estimates: how much effort will it take? Finally, we look at what the team can actually do in this time frame and commit to a plan that's achievable and builds towards a valuable product increment. Okay, let's talk about some real hurdles when it comes to scaling Scrum. It's not just about throwing more people at the problem. You'll quickly find that as your teams grow, things get more complex. One major challenge is coordination. Suddenly you have way more meetings and communication channels, which can actually slow things down. Managing dependencies between different tasks becomes a huge focus too. Larger teams mean more things depend on each other. Finding the right balance between giving teams autonomy and having some kind of coordinating structure is key to avoid feeling like you're micromanaging them. And don't forget about keeping those core Scrum values: transparency, inspection, and adaptation front and center, because it can be easy to lose sight of them when scaling up. Okay, let's talk about something really important. It's not enough to just learn how to do Scrum. Implementing Scrum effectively is all about changing how people think and work together. A lot of companies get caught up in the how to part, like setting up daily stand-ups or sprints, but they miss the bigger picture. It's really a shift from focusing on processes to embracing values. Teams need to feel empowered, trust each other, and have the freedom to figure things out themselves. The Scrum Master isn't telling people what to do, they are helping remove obstacles so the team can focus on delivering value. And it's not just about quick wins, it's about a continuous cycle of getting better, constantly looking for small improvements, and learning from failures. Finally, open communication is key. Everyone needs to be on the same page about what we're building and how we're doing. Okay, let's talk about how Agile coaches and Scrum Masters relate. It's easy to get them mixed up because they both work with teams improving their way of working. The Scrum Master is like a dedicated process expert. They make sure the team understands and follows Scrum rules, helps clear any roadblocks, and guides on how to run Scrum effectively. Now, an Agile coach takes it a step further. They aren't just focused on a single team. They're about improving the whole organization, helping leadership think differently, and ensuring that everyone is set up for long-term agility and adaptation. Think of them as strategic advisors who help systems become more adaptable. Okay, let's talk about how lean principles fit into Scrum. As a Scrum Master, you're all about delivering value to the customer, and Lean provides a fantastic framework for doing just that. We start with value stream mapping. It's like creating a visual roadmap of your whole process, letting you spot where things are slowing down or getting bogged down. Then, we focus on eliminating waste. Anything that doesn't add real value is a problem. Think about defects, unnecessary meetings, or waiting around for approvals. Just-in-time delivery means getting the right thing to the right person at the right time, and continuous flow aims to create a smooth, uninterrupted stream of work. These aren't just buzzwords, they are practical tools you can use to constantly improve your team's performance. Okay, let's talk about MVP, minimum viable product. It's a really important idea in Scrum, especially when you're starting something new. Basically, it means building the smallest possible version of your product that still delivers value to early users. We don't aim for perfection right away. Instead, we focus on getting an initial version out there quickly enough to test our assumptions and see what people actually want. It's all about learning fast by focusing on the core problem you're trying to solve and then building features based on user feedback. Okay, so let's talk about Agile value stream mapping. Think of it as a visual roadmap for your product delivery process. We start by picking a specific piece of work, maybe a new feature or an increment, and mapping out exactly how that gets from idea to deliver value. We'll draw out all the steps involved, like development, testing, and deployment, noting how long each step takes. Then we look for waste, anything that doesn't add real value for the customer. Bottlenecks are also key. Where does work get stuck? We then design a future state map showing how things could be better, focusing on smoother flow and less waiting. Finally, it's all about putting those changes into practice and checking to see if they're actually working. It's an ongoing process of improvement. Okay, let's talk about making sure your Scrum team is not just working well, but also looking good from an Agile perspective. As a Scrum Master, you play a vital role in ensuring that everything aligns with established standards and regulations. It's all about demonstrating value through transparency and clear processes. We'll cover key areas like documentation, keeping the sprint backlogs up to date and easily understandable, plus making sure everyone is actively involved in the daily Scrum, really inspecting what's happening and adapting when needed. Don't forget the importance of stakeholder engagement too. When it comes to audits, you'll likely be asked questions about sprint goal clarity, how well impediments are being addressed, and how the team is responding to feedback. Preparation is key here. Think checklists and templates can really help streamline things. Thank you for watching.